Greetings, everyone. It is Isaac Wells, the voice of Internet's Skeletor. You're watching Dragonfire Entertainment. And remember, listening to a podcast before bedtime is the adult version of story time. Until we meet again.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything feels right. Raise your glasses, let the good vibes pour. Together we'll sing, who could ask for more?
What's going on, everybody? Wildman Wes here, and welcome back to What's Your Poison. Today I've got 4 different types of IPA, and I made sure that the ones that I have here on the bar are from breweries that I haven't done a review on in quite some time. I've realized probably in the last 10 to 15 episodes, certain breweries have been getting a lot more love than others. And I just wanted to show you some beers from breweries that I actually do enjoy and want to give them some love too. That being said, let's get started. Starting off today from Dogfish Head Brewery in Milton, Delaware, we have Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale. When I saw this at the store, I had to get it, mainly on the nostalgic purpose of when I was a kid, I listened to a decent amount of Grateful Dead with my friends, and it was a little bit before and after the passing of Jerry Garcia back in the mid-90s. And what better way to show tribute to a band that inspired me to have an appreciation for a lot of rock and roll, as well as the acid rock or the trippy hippie rock, than to have a beer that's inspired by Grateful Dead. So this is 5.3% ABV, and it boasts a exploration of goodness, starting with a generous dose of kernza grains and granola, notes of bright citrus and tropical refreshment. Doesn't really say a lot about what hops are in here, however, just when it says citrus, tropical, juicy pale ales are going to be somewhat hazy, very fruitful, and probably very dank. If it's Grateful Dead in a pale ale, I expect nothing more than it being dank. Not as dank as I was expecting on the nose feel, but on the mouth feel it might be a little bit different. It is definitely citrusy, very tropical. I'm liking the smell already, so we're going to have a sip and we're going to see exactly what we have in store for it. Ooh! Very light in body, very light in flavor, and I'm not saying that necessarily in a bad way. It's that there is some dankness. It's light. Even for 5.3%, it is still so light, and it is refreshing. However, the lightness of this, because of the dankness and the hops and the tropical notes, I don't want to say it's watered down, but it definitely feels a little too light to be crushing. Let me have another drink because I'm on the fence right now for it. Trouble ahead and trouble behind, and you know this IPA has just crossed my mind. Casey Jones, I feel you have done a fairly decent job on an IPA. Actually, I should say Dogfish Head, but I got into the lyrics of Casey Jones from Grateful Dead. Oh, yeah. Anyways, not a horrible beer. It's not an amazing beer. I would say this is very middle of the road for me. And I would probably say maybe a one and done, because I'm not incredibly wowed, but at the same time, this is definitely one of those beers that if I really needed something that was more than just your standard beer at the bar, and they had this on tap, I'd probably get it. I would say for this, 3 3/4 out of 5 pows. Like I mentioned, not an incredible amazing beer, but it's not a bad beer either. And they did what they could with this. Because doing a light IPA is not always easy. And as I mentioned, they did what they could. So Dogfish Head, hey, not bad. I look forward to seeing more of your stuff down the line. Well, I'm going to sip on the rest of this and we'll move on to our next beer for today. Next on our lineup today from Drecker Brewing Company in Fargo, North Dakota, we have There Was a Time India Pale Ale. This is a 6.9% ABV, and it boasts the malts of premium Pilsner, white wheat, Carafoam, Nectaron, HBC 1019, and Sultana hops, and House IPA yeast. Now, when I see this list of things, I'm excited because I have had things from Drekker in the past, and I haven't been disappointed. I really haven't. And seeing that there's the Nectaron and also HBC 1019, I just want to make sure because my eyes are starting to fade a little bit. I'm excited because these are hops that I'm not used to. And looking at the can, I love because the good wife Becca got me this, and a lot of times when she gets me beers, she says it's because the label looked nice. Actually, she says the label looks pretty, but I digress. And most of the beers that she's gotten me in the past, she's done very well, and I'm pretty sure this one's going to be very tasty. And looking at this already, the head consistency looks very frothy, and it's very cloudy, very hazy, almost milkshake style. I like that already. We're gonna have a sniff. Oh yeah. Oh, that is dank. It also has very much a tropical sweetness to this, very much like grapefruit. Well, why are we waiting? Let's have a drink. Ooh, there's something about the white wheat malt in this, with the body and flavor profile. It's almost giving it a hybrid of almost like a Blue Moon in a way. And I like that because I'm a big fan of Blue Moon. But when it comes to IPAs, having that type of quality of mouthfeel and aromas and flavor, this is very good. And the fact is, this is 6.9%, so I wouldn't say it's high up there in ABV, but I mean, if you're having a couple of these and you forget how many, it could be dangerous because of how light the booziness of it is. You wouldn't really know it's that high up in ABV at 6.9%. I almost thought it tasted more like something on the mid-5s, and it's very good, and I like it. At first I was thinking about not giving it a perfect score because of the fact that I do have a little bit of a bias for Drekker's products, and however when I think of all three hops that are in here, they definitely give this a quality and body of a milkshake style IPA, even though it's not one. And I've had a lot of milkshake IPAs on this channel during reviews. Most of them I've actually been very impressed, and they were graded rather gracefully. And this one, I'm gonna do it 5 out of 5. Drekker, once again, you knocked a home run out of the park, and I'm looking forward to having more of this. Now I'm gonna be sad, but we still got 2 more beers to go, so sit tight. We're gonna get to the next one. Next up in my neck of the woods of the Quad Cities, from Front Street Brewery, we have the Raging River India Pale Ale. They also consider it a gateway IPA. When I see that phrase, my thinking is, okay, this is probably, when they say gateway IPA, it's probably one of those standard IPAs that you may not have had that style before, but this is a good starter to go into other IPAs. That's where I'm getting at. However, this is a 7% ABV IPA, and the ingredients on here, they just say water, hops, malt, and yeast. Very simple. I don't mind that at all. I haven't had Raging River in a very long time, and it's time to have a little bit of a retrospect. Now, oh, look at that. Ah, ha, ha, caught ya. I'm expecting this to, ooh, it looks slightly hazy. So that makes me very happy and very hoppy. Very golden amber, frothy head consistency. Ooh, this smells very much like a West Coast style IPA. So it has that slight fruitiness, almost a biscuity malt in there. Oh, here we go. Simple IPA. I like that. I like that a lot. However, I'm not going to be giving this one a perfect score because of my living in the Quad Cities and living very close by this brewery, because I might have had this can a little bit longer than I needed to. I'm getting a little bit of a burnt, yeasty taste. I don't know. Let me take another sip because I could be wrong. It just could be something in the air. Nope, it's not a bad batch at all. I think a lot of it is maybe the IPA that I had before this one might have tweaked my palate a little bit, where the flavor profile on this one's being thrown off. Not a horrible IPA. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna say 4 1/4 out of 5 on this one, because the flavor profile does dissipate very quickly. It's not as hoppy as I was expecting, but then again, who knows? They did say Gateway IPA, so they might have made this one a little more simpler than a lot of the other IPAs that we've had on this channel. Lord knows we've had a lot of IPAs. And then again, I could just be an IPA snob at this point in my life from doing almost, 400 beers coming up soon? Yeah, it's getting there, folks. But we'll still continue. As I said, 4 1/4 out of 5. Front Street has had some really amazing beers in their lineup, and this definitely is one of their pillars, if my mind serves me right, because it has been on their list for a very long time. As I mentioned before, I've had this a long time ago, and probably around the time that Hefe and I started What's Your Poison, and I can't remember if we actually reviewed this beer. But hey, retrospect's alright. So if I did review this one in the past and now we're reviewing it again, it will not count towards that 400th beer. So we'll just put that on the table. Now that I got that off my chest, I'm going to finish up this beer, and we have one more for today. Closing out this lineup today from Revolution Brewing in Chicago, Illinois, we have Infinity Hero. This is part of their Hero line, and it's been a long time since we've done a beer from Revolution on this channel, and I feel bad about that because I've loved a lot of their Hero series, and I love their IPAs. This is 7% ABV. They say next-gen hops, juicy citrus character, and looking at this character, oh man, Marvel would be a little miffed on this one because who are we kidding? It's Doctor Strange. But a lot of the IPAs that Revolution puts out are anything but strange. Different. Strange? I wouldn't say that. And looking at the color on this, slightly hazy. Not too hazy. Almost transparent. I can almost see through to the camera. Hello. Hi. And then we also have great head consistency, very frothy. Again, I love that, especially for IPAs. It's just, there's something about the carbonation that just, a lot of the hops just kind of linger on the top. Lingerers, I love that. Let's take a smell. Hoppy, juicy, very tropical. Getting almost a pineapple on this, I'm not sure, but, well, let's have a sip. The juiciness, I would say, when it comes to making my mouth water and cleansing the palate, not bad at all. Flavor profile wise, it has more of the standard IPA flavor profile. It's dank, not as tropical juicy or citrus juicy as I was expecting, which then again, as I've mentioned before, I've become an IPA snob, and I apologize for that to some of you who may watch these episodes and think, Wes, that IPA that you had that you didn't give a decent grade on, man, it's actually really good. What are you thinking? Well, I get it. And we've mentioned before, not every beer is for everyone. This one, I would say, as much as I love Revolution, this one is, I wouldn't say necessarily a one and done. I'd probably do two at best. I like it, but not enough to write home about. And that makes me a little sad because I do love the hero lineup that Revolution has put out. This one, I would say, is not on the bottom of that list. I would say probably on the 2 or the 3. Anti-hero, that one has always had a soft spot in my heart because it was one of the OGs. It was one of the ones that I was introduced to. So it's very difficult for me to knock that one off the number 1 spot. For this one, like I said, maybe number 2 on my list, maybe number 3, but it's not a bad beer at all. I love this beer, I actually do, and that's why this is making me very uncomfortable trying to figure out what to grade this. And the best way is I'm gonna have a quick another sip, and then, yeah, I'm gonna have to say 4 out of 5 POWs. This is very well crafted. It's that when I look at the description and I have expectations and they may not all be met, I have to take things into consideration. Does it still have that juiciness for the mouthfeel where your mouth waters a little bit, where you want another sip? Yes, absolutely. When I think about some of the hops or whatever flavor profile, I smell things when it comes to the hops and the aromas, whether it's a fruit one or an earthy one. And when it throws me off like that, where I was really excited and expecting something, that's where the grade drops a little bit. However, 4 out of 5 is not a bad grade. So, Revolution, still love you. You make some really great IPAs. Enough said. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode on some different IPAs. If you've had these before and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up. If you've had them and you don't agree with me, you can leave a thumbs down. I totally understand. As I mentioned before, not every beer is for everyone. Also, make sure you share on social media. Most importantly, let's get that algorithm up and push that little red button and ring that bell for instant notifications. Also, make sure you check out my boy Hefe at Beer You Beer Me, as well as Beard Wizard Man for their beer-related content. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you next time on What's Your Poison or some of the other projects that we've had on Dragonfire Entertainment. Worst State of Movies has been going pretty strong. They have some doozies in there, and I guarantee it'll bring back a lot of memories, good or bad. Also, we've got Game Central Station. I've been bringing up some old video games and also doing some viewers' choices where you can pick what game you want to see, whether it's through the posts I put up here on YouTube or on social media if you follow me on there too. And not just that, but the fall is coming. And you know what that means, folks. Shocktoberfest is right around the corner. That's right, 31 horror movies in 31 days. And this year, we're doing an 80s rewind. So, I'm looking forward to it because there's a lot of 80s movies I have not reviewed yet. And we all know how I feel about the 80s. Still trapped in them. And I wish I could go back sometimes. I'm Wildman Wes. Take care and cheers.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything